CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Brendan Purdy.
He is a very partisan in the way he conducts himself and conducts politics.
Tonight on CTV News, calling it quits, an Edmonton Member of Parliament is leaving the Hill. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Edmonton Riverbend Conservative MP Matt Jeneroux has resigned. The announcement comes just a day after his office denied that he would cross the floor to the Liberal Party, similar to what we saw from Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont earlier this week. In a statement, Jeneroux said, "I ran in the last election, hoping Canadians would put their faith in Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives," adding, "I wanted to play a part in that vision." He went on to express his admiration for what he called many remarkable people elected to the House of Commons on both sides of the aisle. He didn't give a reason for his resignation. His fellow former Alberta Conservative MP Thomas Lukazik says Jeneroux was a nonpartisan politician who acknowledged good work regardless of where it came from.
I don't think Matt Jeneroux's approach to politics aligns very well with Mr. Poilievre and the leader of the Conservative Party. He is a very partisan in the way he conducts himself and conducts politics. So, this may be part of the reason when Matt said enough is enough. I cannot just continuously sit and criticize. I think there are areas where we can actually work with government.
Lukazik says Prime Minister Carney's Liberals will be looking to pick up Edmonton Riverbend in a by-election. While Jeneroux says he hopes to address the House one final time in the future, but his focus now shifts towards his family. The Alberta Teachers Association is launching a legal challenge against Bill 2. The ATA says the Back to School Act sets a precedent that threatens the fundamental freedoms and legal protections afforded to all Albertans. The application to the Court of King's Bench includes a request for an injunction to pause Bill 2 while the case is heard.
Our message to the government is simple. You may silence teachers in the legislature with Bill 2. But you cannot silence them in the courts. Our message to Albertans is equally clear. This fight belongs to you too. Because if the government can do this to teachers today, it can do it to nurses, to paramedics, to tradespeople, to anyone tomorrow.
1 month ago, 50,000 Alberta teachers began their historic strike after rejecting an offer that was made in September. It included a 12% salary hike over 4 years, hiring 3,000 teachers, and a market adjustment of up to 17% for most teachers. Last Monday, the province passed the Back to School Act using the notwithstanding clause. A constitutional law professor at the University of Ottawa says the ATA's lawsuit is risky but could pay off.
And if they do win in the long run, it would be very significant for them and, frankly, for Canadians in general to bring the message that these notwithstanding clauses, yes, they are legitimate in certain situations, but when they are being used illegitimately, there is a right to stand against it.
The province says it invoked the notwithstanding clause because students and parents deserve full certainty that children could return to the classroom and stay in the classroom. Justice Minister Mickey Amry adding that the province will vigorously defend its position in court. The Premier is questioning how the province's recall legislation is being used.
I don't believe that the recall petitions have been entered to in good faith. That being said, Mr. Speaker, there is no legislation on the table at the moment to make any changes. So the members are going to wait and see if any of these petitions end up getting the number of signatures, and then we'll deal with it at that time.
Premier Danielle Smith says recall legislation shouldn't be used to topple a government. She says that's what elections are for. 2 recall petitions have been given the green light so far. One targets the Education Minister, Demetrius Nicolaides. The other is for Airdrie MLA Angela Pitt. Applicants have 3 months to collect the required signatures. Police have laid more than 80 charges against 2 men following a crime spree in and around central Alberta. RCMP say it started with an armed robbery at a gas station in Caroline and ended 5 days later with a high-speed chase down Highway 21. The chase 2 weeks ago began near Beaumont. RCMP say the vehicle being followed reached 215 kilometers an hour. It ended with a rollover and the arrest of 2 suspects, a 29-year-old and 31-year-old 21-year-old now face dozens of charges. Alberta's police watchdog has cleared 2 RCMP officers who shot and killed a teenage boy who initially called for their help. ACERT's report says in August of 2024, 15-year-old Haas Lightning Saddleback called RCMP saying he was being followed by people who were trying to kill him. Responding officers discovered he was carrying weapons, which he handed over. The teen wouldn't drop his backpack, and ACERT says he reached into his bag in a way suggesting that he had a gun inside. He pointed it at the officers and was shot and killed. He was unarmed. ACERT says the officers were defending themselves, believing the teen had a gun. A counselor with the Samson Cree Nation says the report is biased and contradictory. Isaiah Swampy says a systemic racist body investigating another systemic racist body will produce the same results: injustice in all its forms. An Edmonton police officer has been charged in connection with a sexual assault while on duty. ACERT was directed to investigate the allegation 2 years ago. It found there was a reason to believe an offense had happened. Crown prosecutors determined that charges could be laid. Constable Renzo Geronimo is facing a number of charges, including sexual assault and unlawful confinement. EPS says the 5-year member is currently in a non-frontline role and his duty status is currently under review. City Council's decision to spend $1 million to create day shelter spaces for the homeless is getting mixed reviews from people who work with the vulnerable. While some say the effort will help protect people from the cold, others worry it's too simple a solution for a very complex population. CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports.
People who come to the emergency shelter section of Pimatuwin often transition into more permanent housing at the same facility, where they can access an array of supports.
I would say our capacity is almost always full. We are always cycling people.
Carrie Cardinal says many of her staff have experienced homelessness and addiction, which helps build trust with clients, a vital ingredient to address complex problems.
You don't really know what those solutions are until you build those relationships with people and get to know them and find out what their needs are. Are you able to do that in a day shelter project? I'm not sure.
Cardinal is skeptical about City Council's $1 million move to create day shelter spaces ahead of winter weather. She'd rather see that money go towards programs proven to get people housed.
I wouldn't consider it a solution to what's going on right now on our streets.
Mayor Andrew Knack says the day shelters are intended to give people somewhere safe and warm to spend time other than libraries, parks, or transit centers.
Too many neighborhoods are feeling the impacts of growing homelessness and the pressure it places on residences and businesses.
Minister Jason Nixon says there's no need for day shelters in Edmonton.
It is the rules that shelters must be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In a statement responding to Nixon, Mayor Knack says in order to address the concerns raised by Edmontonians, we want to provide additional support on top of the work being done by the provincial government.
It's just the first step of a stairwell, right? You have to get to the top, and that day shelter is the first step.
Homelessness advocate Mark Charrington says the spaces could be a game changer, but the details matter. He says day shelters can be as simple as a warm room with some snacks and coffee, or a hub with all sorts of supports and resources.
And I have enough trust with our city council to do it right, keep the religion out of it, and keep the enforcement out of it, and people will come.
City staff are currently consulting social agencies to find the best model for the money. They also plan to evaluate the program down the road to determine whether it made a meaningful difference. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The opposition NDP has introduced a bill that proposes stronger rules and limits around receiving gifts. If passed, Bill 202 would have harder caps on gifts that government members can accept. It also aims to give the Ethics Commissioner more power to have those gifts disclosed to the public.
We believe these decisions should be made in the full light of day, and we believe it makes way more sense to have them in legislation that has to come to the legislature to be changed instead of in regulations that can be changed by the Premier on a whim.
The bill also proposes stronger codes of conduct for political staff. In 2023, the UCP government raised the limit of gifts that MLAs can accept without Ethics Commissioner approval from $200 to $500. It's unlikely an Alberta NDP bill will pass as the UCP holds a majority government. A report from researchers at the Parkland Institute says frontline health workers in Alberta face burnout, violence, and shortened careers due to the rising demands of the drug toxicity crisis. The study surveyed more than 500 healthcare workers, including paramedics and emergency staff. It found that many feel abandoned, undertrained, and unsupported. The report calls for more supportive housing and flexibility to let communities respond to the crisis. Some recovery doctors say taking an approach of involuntary compassionate intervention for patients shouldn't be overlooked.
I think it's important for healthcare workers to remember that we didn't cause the addiction. We can't cure the addiction of ourselves. We can't make somebody do well or not do well. And we can't actually control how that person's going to live their lives. But we can offer meaningful tools, meaningful supports in the future when compassionate intervention is implemented.
The province defended its recovery-oriented strategy, pointing to new recovery communities and virtual support programs. But the Parkland Institute says frontline workers need better supports and protections. This morning, a tanker carrying what is believed to be bitumen crashed into the North Saskatchewan River. Smoky Lake RCMP responded to the call off of Highway 831 around 8 a.m. this morning. Officers believe the driver lost control of the tanker in a tough-to-navigate section of the highway that had poor road conditions due to heavy snow. The driver had to climb on top of the vehicle and was rescued by the Smoky Lake Fire Department's boat. An environmental team was sent to the scene for cleanup. Farmfair International is back at the Edmonton Expo Centre, attracting ranchers from around the world. As CTV's Merrick Takash explains, they hope to give greater insight into how much work goes into your beef.
Good boy, buddy.
Maddie Watkins is a grade 12 student from Okotoks. She grew up on the farm. She's been involved in a 4-H program for 10 years. Each year, the program provides her with a new steer to raise.
I'm really proud of Carl this year. He is a clubby cross, which means he is a mix of a bunch of breeds that just have the best characteristics for a show steer. He's got amazing hair, and I'm loving his bone structure. I think he'll make a fantastic show animal.
Watkins wants to use this weekend to shine a light on something she says is overlooked by many.
You just show up in the grocery store and you see all these packages of beef, and without knowing how hard it is to get it there, you have no true understanding of that. And it takes a community to be able to make that happen.
Her father, Peter Watkins, brings his cattle to Edmonton's farm fair every year. He says it's important to show people how much effort goes into making beef.
We really pay attention to characteristics and are just trying to raise the best animals to take to the beef industry that we can. A big part of raising cattle is genetics, and that's why we're all here at Farmfair International.
People from all over the world are at this year's event. Ignacio Gomez brought 9 Mexican cattle ranchers from Guadalajara. He says they have a lot to learn.
You have improved a lot your bloodlines, the genetics of different breeds, and that will help a lot the Mexican cattle growers to improve their cattle genetics on their herds down in Mexico.
Back in the barn, Watkins hopes everybody coming to Farm Fair for the first time learns lots.
When you've grown up in the livestock and agriculture industry, it's quite shocking to see the divide between rural and urban and how it's stretching every year.
A gap this event hopes to help close. Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
MLAs and military veterans gathered at the legislature earlier today to honor and remember those who fought for our country. The ceremony recognized the contributions of Canadian and Indigenous veterans. Many filled the rotunda to pay their respects to military members, both past and present. Premier Danielle Smith and opposition leader Naheed Nenshi were among those to take part.
This ceremony today is also a promise that those of us gathered here and people across this free and peaceful province will honor and remember those brave acts and hold gratitude in our hearts forever for those men and women who have served and who continue to serve in armed conflicts around the world.
National Indigenous Veterans Day is this Saturday, and Remembrance Day is next Tuesday. Just ahead, the next edition of our new series, The Crime Tapes. In part 4, we delve deeper into Michael White's trial.
More than that. This is based on evidence.
Good evening, folks. Temperatures just barely above zero for a daytime high today. Yeah, that will change tomorrow. We'll stay below the freezing mark all day, and there is snow on the way for tomorrow. We escaped it last night. I don't think we're going to escape this one tomorrow. I'll tell you how much to expect in just a few minutes.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Welcome back. Our new series with veteran reporter David Owasik looks at the historic case of Michael White and the murder of his pregnant wife, Leanna. In part 4 of the crime tapes, we continue with Michael White's 2006 trial, including police interrogation video.
Michael White's police interview was captured on video, and the jury at his second-degree murder trial was able to see how he reacted when confronted by homicide investigators. Have a look at our latest chapter of the crime tapes.
Michael White takes the bite of a sandwich during this police interview. He's just been charged with murder. His pregnant wife's body discovered by him hours before. A detective tells White police have a strong case.
This isn't just a hunch. This is more than that. This is based on evidence. How can you accuse me of killing my wife?
With that question, homicide detective Ernie Schreiber tells White about witnesses who spotted Leanna White's SUV and security video showing her truck and possibly Michael White himself.
Your SUV? That's right. That's me, White. Want to see it again? Yeah.
White also hears about what's in the garbage bags police watched him transport.
Garbage bags? I don't recognize them as light pants, no. Sorry, sir. That's your shirt going on in my shirt. Your shirt? Mm-hmm. Put in the garbage. Along with these bloody pants. The broken lamp.
But White is adamant.
I did not kill my wife.
Schreiber continues to press his suspect.
Did she die as a result of the actions of a person who didn't care about her at all? You've got some pretty good shoulders, Mike. But I can't imagine the weight that's on him now.
The interview ends shortly after with White saying he's exhausted, but admitting nothing.
On the witness stand, Michael White looked at the jury and stated he did not kill his wife. The defense opened its case with the accused testifying under oath.
Michael White stood in front of a packed courtroom in a dark gray suit, white button-down shirt, taking the stand in his own defense. His lawyer asked if he killed his wife. White, nearly in tears, stated, "I absolutely did not kill my wife. This is my world. I never hurt her, never laid a hand on her, never pushed her, never beat her." White explained away the Crown's evidence of DNA in garbage bags and blood throughout his home with his testimony saying, "Those bloody materials, everything that this is about, has nothing to do with Leanna's death or her disappearance. It all has to do with a nosebleed." White stated his pregnant wife left for work as normal on the day she disappeared, but 3 weeks prior, she was struck in the nose while their 3-year-old daughter played with a coat rack. White testified he tried to wipe up her blood with his shirt, put on rubber gloves because his hands were dirty from work. White stated he finally talked his bleeding wife out of going to the hospital, but not before they had walked out to their 4x4. He testified he unwittingly picked up the garbage bags from a dump site he claimed he and Leanna had used in the past.
There wasn't much that could be disputed about the strength of the Crown's evidence, but it did lack one thing: a concrete motive as to why Michael White would murder his wife. But would that make a difference? The jury came back. CTV News broke into live programming, and then at 6 p.m., a full segment on the verdict. Here is one of the most important chapters on the crime tapes.
Our David Owasik has been there every step of the way in this case, and he joins us tonight from the law courts with the emotion and the reaction from today's verdict. David.
Daryl, Michael White seemed to be in shock at hearing that he'd been found guilty of second-degree murder. He quickly threw his head back, then he put his chin down to his chest. Maureen Kelly, the mother of Leanna White, the victim, well, she broke down in tears, but she quickly composed herself, came out of the courthouse, and spoke with the media.
Oh, I hate him. I hate what he's done. I have no feelings for him.
This was not the end of the case. In our next edition of the Crime Tapes, you'll learn something the jury did not have access to, that there may have been a witness to this crime.
Programming brought to you by Superheroes and Blockbusters with your Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. Learn more at winspearcenter.com.
Welcome back. Temperatures were pretty steady at around the freezing mark through the day today. We'll start tomorrow in the -3, -4 range and get to about -1 for a daytime high around lunchtime. I think most of tomorrow afternoon we're in the -2, -3 range. So it'll be a chilly day and a snowy day, it looks like, as well. There was snow just off to the north and northeast of the Edmonton area. By this morning, we had snow on the ground in places like Redwater, Bruderheim, Elk Island. Tomorrow, this next system is mainly going to target areas south of Edmonton. That's the best chance for some of the more significant accumulations, maybe 5+ centimeters in a couple of spots. Here in Edmonton, we're on the edge once again, but it looks like by mid to late morning through the afternoon hours and possibly even into the early evening, we've got snow in the area. And what saved us from not having snow on the ground this morning is that it was all rain overnight last night because the mid-level temperatures were just warm enough that it didn't flip over. But we've seen some cooling in that part of the atmosphere, which should mean this is not rain, this is snow. And the fact that it's going to be a fairly lengthy duration leads me to believe that there will likely be at least 1 to maybe as much as 3 or 4 centimeters of snow on the ground by the time we hit Friday night, early Saturday morning. Could see a little bit more here in these areas in dark blue and purple off to the south. If you have travel plans to put you on the QE2 south of the Edmonton area, you're going to run into snow for most of the day tomorrow. You may also see some fairly slick and icy roads, especially rural roads that aren't as frequently and heavily traveled as the QE2. -9 in Fort McMurray tomorrow morning. -2 in Grand Prairie. Will be about -3 in Edmonton and Red Deer. Daytime highs tomorrow in the -3, -4 range across the northeast. Should get back just slightly above 0 in Grand Prairie. Red Deer at about -1 with a couple centimeters of snow tomorrow. -6 in Lloydminster. Here in the city, -1 for the high. A bit of snow. That'll taper off by tomorrow night. You get some sunny breaks late in the day Saturday. High back above 0, so 3 or 4 degrees. Should be somewhere in the 6 to 11 degree range for highs Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And it looks like that mild air will stick around until about the middle of next week. That is your forecast.
It's November, folks, meaning a lot of men are out there growing their mustaches. Movember has raised more than $1.5 billion for men's health since it started more than 20 years ago. As CTV's Evan Kenny explains, the mustaches are a fun way to start a rather serious conversation.
For the rest of the month, many men around the world are putting down their clippers and razors to support men's health. Justin Woodruff has been doing this for nearly 20 years.
2007 is when I started my career, and the firm was doing it. And at that point, I'm like, I don't know if I can grow a mustache. This is going to be hilarious. Let's have a go.
He has fun with his mustache, taking on some out there looks.
I grow a stupid mustache. I don't think I've ever done just a basic mustache. I don't choose a mustache, the mustache chooses me.
Movember raises money and awareness for men's mental health, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer.
We all have a brother, a cousin, a father, a friend, a loved one who's impacted by this.
A report done by the charity shows 4,000 Canadians die from prostate cancer each year.
The fact that we don't have a dedicated strategy for poor men's health is costing Canadian taxpayers $12.4 billion, which is a big number. And actually, that's the cost of running 12 major hospitals in a year.
Woodruff's sons are his inspiration.
I just want them to be open and be able to grow up in a world where they can talk about their emotions, talk about their feelings, as opposed to my dad's time in life was you bottle it up, you man up, you move on.
Last year, he was recognized by Movember as one of Canada's top community advocates. This year, he's hoping to keep the conversation going. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
A great cause, and hey, fellas, it helps to keep your upper lip warm as we get colder. Thanks for wrapping up your Tuesday with us on CTV News. We'll be back with you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, take care, and goodbye for now.